Good morning. Okay, it is day 11. This is Paul here with Backpacking and Brews. We are hiking the Via Transilvanica. It is day 11 on the trail, the 13th of April. It's a Monday. It's the day after Orthodox Easter Sunday. So it's still we think it's still a national holiday, day off for most people. We just exited the town of Bistrita. Really big town. We departed about 8 o'clock in the morning. It was really quiet. Hardly anybody up. A few folks. Saw people out there, people cleaning the streets with brooms. Really, looked like a very clean town. Did look like one big shopping center, grocery store was open. But other than that, everything else was closed. Walked by some Orthodox churches, some Catholic churches. They have those big eggs that I think you've seen, or we got pictures of. There's another shot of Bistrita down behind me. There we go. Well, probably one of the bigger towns that we're passing through. But spent the night in the Grand Hotel Corona. Wonderful. 4-star hotel. Breakfast was included. It's about 100 euros for the night. So a little bit more expensive, but beautiful. Well-appointed room, comfortable bed, nice shower. We had dinner there in the restaurant last night as well. Most other places were absolutely closed, so it was pretty much the only game in town for dinner. And it was just a wonderful dinner. I had some chicken thighs and mushrooms, Greek salad, and Tammy had the carbonara, which is really good and rich. Good pasta for a day of hiking the following day. So it's about 30 some degrees out, cool morning. Supposed to get up into the low 50s today with clear skies. 0% chance of precipitation. And today we have about a 14 mile day over not so steep hills. And we're heading to the town of Jeica, little town, barely a hamlet, I think. And we've got sort of reservations at Magdi's place, which is, I presume, a homestay. And I contacted her via WhatsApp. There are no accommodations on booking.com at all in Jeica, so you're kind of limited. But one thing the guys at Tassulesa Social told us, they said if you ever need a place to stay, doesn't matter where, along the Via Transilvanica, just reach out to them and say, hey, we want to stop in this town or this village. Let them know and say you're looking for a place to stay, lodging, and they will find somebody in that village that will give you accommodations for the night. So really awesome group of folks to be able to do that. I mean, what other trail in the world would do that for you? None that we know of. So pretty awesome. So in leaving Bistrita this morning, came across a few folks just walking in the opposite direction of us along our path. And everyone, we'd say, Bună dimineața, good morning. And they would presumably, speak Romanian, ask us where we're going. Oh yeah. And begin to give us directions on how to get out of town and how to get over to Jeica. So super friendly people, just really awesome. And again, one last view of the town of Bistrita. And it is a town. Church bells are ringing. Boy, very nice. Well, we're at kilometer stone 224, and which happens to be a snowman, which is really kind of cute. But just want to show where we are. We're on top of this high meadow and just got a wonderful panoramic view There's the outskirts of Bistrita. That's where Bistrita primarily is, right there. We're just got this huge meadows, farmland, pasture land surrounding us. Just gorgeous views from where we are right now. Wonderful trail conditions too. All right, at kilometer stone 227, and we see a shell, which obviously, or not obviously, but reminds us of the Camino de Santiago and how there were shells sort of the modic, I don't know what you call it, the sign of the way, with the lines leading towards Santiago and all the outskirts of the lines coming from the various points. But when we were talking to the folks at Transilvanica Social, they were saying that there is a Camino de Santiago that starts in Romania. Not exactly sure where the starting point is, but just figured it was worth noting. And that was our first one that we saw, first kilometer stone that had any reference to a shell like they'd have on the Camino de Santiago. Interesting. So one of the interesting things that we've come to discover in our hikes here in Europe, even in England, is that the cuckoo bird seems to be prevalent. We noticed the cuckoo bird in Spain. We're hearing cuckoos here in Romania, and we've heard cuckoos in England as well during our hikes. I'm not sure if we heard the cuckoos on the Tour de Mont Blanc in France, Switzerland, and Italy, but certainly in these other three countries we've heard them, and you can't hear it now. He's kind of quieted down, but just interesting little tidbit. I think we all grew up thinking that because cuckoo clocks sort of come from Germany, we thought, you know, you'd only have cuckoos in Germany, but not the case. They're quite spread throughout much of Europe, apparently. Well, we just passed through, it's about 11:30. We just passed through the village of Domnesti, which was a mix of new old buildings. Looks like a one street town almost. And we're kilometer stone, we're not quite sure what kilometer stone we just passed. We haven't seen one for a little while. But nonetheless, we're doing some road walking. Looks like we've got a little bit of asphalt between us and Jeica, which is where we're ending the day today. So hopefully, well, good thing is the road's pretty quiet. Must be that Monday holiday thing, but yeah, no, not a lot of fun walking on the road, but it's the shortest route between 2 points for the time being. So, walking through towns, this is pretty much what you hear. Lots of dogs barking. So, yeah, a lot of the farms have dogs. A lot of the homeowners have dogs. And most of them, even though the homes have small plots, they'll have a dog in the yard. And as we walk by, the dogs usually bark. And quite a number of dogs through the various towns. I wouldn't say every house has a dog, but of the dogs that are there, I'd say 90% of them are barking at us when we walk through. Now, they're all behind fences usually, although back there, which was a farm, there were at least 3 dogs, larger ones, that were not chained up or behind a fence. But they stayed on their property as far as we could tell. They didn't come after us. So just something to be aware of. Of note, the folks at Transilvanica Social said that some of the farmers have more dogs than they're supposed to have. So there's apparently a limit to the number of dogs you have based on the number of livestock you have, whether it's sheep or cattle. And also he mentioned that some of the dogs aren't vaccinated. So it's a little little scary if you're bitten by a dog. And if it's not vaccinated, you know, what does that suggest? You got to start getting the rabies series shots. Ugh, that would be horrible. But so far for us, it's been good, knock on wood. And just something to be aware of. And we usually, when we do come across any dogs, especially if they're loose, we stick close together and sort of watch each other's back. So the road that we've been walking on looks like it's fairly newly paved. And, you know, the culverts or the drains on the sides of the road look brand new, concrete. I mean, it's really a nice road for a country road. And my guess is when the folks built the trail, this was probably a dirt farm road. And sure enough, progress happened and they paved it. And so now we're walking on a paved road, which is probably not the preference of the folks that are managing the Via Transilvanica. So who knows, maybe at some point they'll figure out a way to divert around all this asphalt. Seeing a bit more flock of sheep today than we have most days. I think the shepherd's way off to the right with a bunch of dogs. Yeah, real pretty landscape here. Nice rich meadows. I guess perfect for raising sheep. Shot of the sheep again. Zoom in a little bit. As far as I can zoom in. There are the sheep. And the shepherd is way to the right here. You can just see him. There's his dogs over there with him. Way far away for some odd reason. And then there are the sheep. Shortcut. We're not going to say where this was, but we found a better path. We had sheep, now we have cows. Just like a regular farm in Pennsylvania. So we just passed a herd of cattle that were grazing in a meadow. And they look to be beef cattle, not milk cattle. As far as I could tell, they didn't have big udders on them, but not entirely sure. I'm not an expert when it comes to cows. So the restaurant last night, we said that, so I had a chicken thigh that was barbecued. Tammy had the carbonara, but they did have beef on the menu. They had a ribeye and they had some other beef entrees. A little more expensive than the chicken and the pork entrees. But the ribeye that they had, I think was about $30, whatever it is in lei or RON, which is compared, you know, very comparable to what you pay for a ribeye in the United States. But I've been reluctant to try a ribeye over here because I'm not convinced it's going to be as good as how I can cook a ribeye, frankly, and for some of the ribeyes that I've had back home. So, but we'll see. Maybe down the road, give beef a try. We'll see what the prices are like. So it's 1:40 in the afternoon, and we've gone 14 miles at least so far today from Bistrita, heading toward Jeica. So it looks like it's going to be potentially another 15-mile day. Not sure. We try to do the math with the kilometer stones, and it seems like every day ends up being longer than what the math works out to be. So for example, you count the kilometer stones, you multiply it by 0.621, and that gives you your sort of your mile marker. Maybe I'm using the wrong number, but each time it seems to be longer when we walk it than what we estimate it to be. But today has been a lot of road walking. See, we're on the road again, or still. I guess coming out of Bistrita, had some trail, and really nice trail. All pleasant meadow grass, etc. Dry, not wet. Very nice. And then the rest of the day has been almost entirely asphalt, which is kind of a bummer because we end up walking a lot on asphalt yesterday as well. But it's just part of the mix. I guess when you go 850 miles across your country, at some point you're going to be walking on road and not just trails. So we'll see. Hopefully be into Jeica in another 20 minutes or so, maybe more, maybe a little less, and enjoy that first set of beers.